you'd like to give us your opening remarks for tonight.
Absolutely, Chris. First and foremost, thank you again for chairing and calling us to order. And more importantly, thank all of you for being here this evening. This is evening 2, obviously the second evening, and per the agenda, the opportunity to deliberate, to look at this budget, answer questions, and ultimately, I'll keep it short, excuse me. We stand ready to serve and answer questions and basically help work on this budget. So thank you very much, Chris, and I look forward to the evening.
Thank you. Next order of business is to approve the budget committee minutes from our meeting on Monday. Those were emailed out by Richard, I think yesterday, if I recall correctly. So if everyone's had a chance to review those minutes, if there's anyone who wants to make any motions, we'll entertain them.
I'll move to accept the minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of approving the minutes from Monday's meeting on April 26, 2021, please say aye or raise your hand.
Would you mind? I'm happy to do a roll call. I just want to confirm who was here. I'm happy
that'd be great. Yeah.
Call it out just briefly. Thank you. Donna Barber.
Aye.
Stephanie Stevens. Christine Larson.
Aye.
Sahar Maranovic. Aaron Barrow.
Aye.
Andrea Valderrama. Frida Christopher.
Aye.
Tori Campbell.
Aye.
Juan Mayral. Christopher Pekarsky.
Aye.
Katrina Whittle.
Aye.
Mitzi Stone.
Aye.
Adriana Govea. And Carrie Fry.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Moving on, we're to the part of the evening where we'll accept audience participation and public comment in terms of the budget. We spent Monday listening to a review of the budget and had a chance to take a look at it, ask some questions. I'm sure the committee will have more questions tonight, but first, are there any members of the public who would like to ask questions, participate, comment at all? You can use the chat function to let us know that you are interested in doing so.
Let's see, I'm not currently seeing anyone in the attendee list who is not part of the David Douglas staff, but yes, you can also use the chat as Chris is saying.
It does not appear that anyone is seeking to comment, so let's move on to deliberation by the budget committee. And I would say at this point, if anyone has anything you'd like to say, go ahead and use the raise your hand feature in the participant screen so that I can make sure to keep everyone moving in order based upon your request to speak. Frida.
I'll kick it off. It always seems to take time for people to think about what they want to ask. I'm going to go to page 4.84, Pat. Other support services. There's, let me see what it is. Oh, under there, you're adding 2 FTE classified family outreach. Is this a new positions or a move from somewhere else?
These are two new positions, and I'm going to let Kelly talk about them.
Great.
Okay, so Frida, clarify, is it the two positions? Sorry, there was something outside. Family Community Partnerships Coordinator?
That's correct.
Okay, so our intent based off of the strategic plan and the conversations that we've had is to expand IDA's team. So currently we have a 1.0 FTE Family and Community Partnerships Coordinator. And our intent is to add on 2 members to her team in order to provide more family partnerships and family outreach. Specifically, hopefully, a secondary person and an elementary person is one brainstorm, or we're looking at specifically targeting some of our underrepresented culturally specific groups.
Okay, so you haven't decided if it's, say, someone speaking Russian versus Vietnamese or whatever. It just hasn't been decided. Okay.
Well, we would like to enhance. We have our multicultural bilingual liaisons already.
Yeah.
And so we would like to make sure that we have point people, culturally and ethnically diverse people on IDA's team to outreach to communities that we currently don't have staff members who are represented from those communities.
Okay, thanks. My second question is 4.122, and it shows the FTE administrator for a Grow Your Own program. Now, if I understood correctly, is that Tay's position right now? Because it said administrator, so I was assuming it's Tay. And is it not, we were doing with some grant funds.
Correct.
Is it not able to do it with grant funds going forward?
Yeah, I can take that one, Pat and Frida. So you are correct. That is Tay's position, and it is currently grant funded. There has been indications that this grant may continue. And if it does, we've been, it's indicated that we would be able to receive funds again, but it is not 100% sure. So we wanted to make sure that we had it in the budget in case the grant opportunity does not come back.
Oh, okay, doke.
Right.
Then it's more of a general question, and it may be too early to know anything. When the president came out with his proposed budgets, and we all know it's just a proposed budget, he shows a 40% increase in education, something we haven't had in probably decades. But is there any talk, scuttlebutt out there, will IDEA finally get some increases, or does anyone know anything, COSA, what that might entail?
There are projected increases for title funding, IDEA, several different federal programs. And so it's just a matter of waiting and seeing how that all shakes out.
Okay, I was just kind of curious because all they've done the last few years is cut our funding. So I think that's it for me, because I think I asked most of my questions last time.
I saw a couple things that I just wanted to ask about in the budget. One was on page 2.7 in terms of the unemployment compensation. It went from 0.10% to 10%, and I just wanted to understand that change.
That's a typo.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. So it should be 0.1%.
Okay. And then the other thing I saw that I wanted to ask about was on page 4.5. Sorry, I got to get there. In areas 540 and 560, those numbers rose significantly, and I just it poked me in the eye. I just wanted to understand the increases in those allocations.
Sure. So let me look here because I believe it's in program 2552 that we increased our buses, to purchase buses. And let me look here. Yep. If you go to 4.104, you'll see capital outlay increase there.
And that was for the, I think it was 17 buses or something that we're working on replacing over time.
Yeah, so that obviously that's not going to pay for 17 buses. So if folks aren't familiar, a large 84 passenger bus is about $130,000 to $150,000 each. So just to give you an idea, but we do have 17 we need to replace by 2025 due to diesel emissions. And so we need to work on getting those replaced. Otherwise we won't be able to drive them. And then there's some depreciable equipment. And if we go to, let's see if I can find it. Program 2544, you're going to see an increase on page 4.96. And that's for some replacement equipment in our maintenance area. And that's for replacing a couple of our larger vehicles that our folks use.
Okay, thank you. Christine.
Hi, I was wondering if you could talk a little more about the need to hire 6 more elementary school teachers. It's on page 4.9 if anybody wants to see that, with our declining enrollment in the.
That's not actually hiring. So that's what's not covered through the Student Success Act. So we had actually moved 18, I believe, over. So yeah, we're not actually reducing there.
Okay, it just looks like there's an additional hire of 6.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing because if you remember, we cut last year, and then due to this furlough savings and the reduction in Student Success Act, we ended up paying for several things out of general fund, which is why we did a supplemental budget. And then it kind of shook out a little oddly this year just because of the moving targets.
Does anyone else have any questions or deliberations?
So Frida asked a question about tier 1, tier 2 versus OPSERP. So 27.52% of our staff are tier 1, tier 2, 72.48 are in the OPSERP retirement for public employee retirement.
So essentially, we're tilting the other way now.
Correct.
Away from tier 1, tier 2, which in the long run will save us money. So.
And then you had a question on students that were transferring out in program 1225.
Yeah, it's the SPED program, just because there was quite a few, and it can affect what our funds are needed for special ed.
And so when I checked, there was only one of those students that was in an outside placement.
Okay. Yeah, do we have any idea, have Candy heard on those that are inter-district transfer, because there was a significant amount, not inter-district, mid-year transfer? Have they expressed if they're wanting to come back next year?
I don't know the answer to that yet, Frida, but I can check with Lori and see what number we're at, if any.
Yeah, I was concerned because of the the grouping of who they were. And I couldn't get, because we're not doing free and reduced lunch, I couldn't match up numbers, but I used county numbers on percentages of those populations that are in poverty. And they're less likely to come back because of the lack of transportation. So that's why normally we get quite a few back, but I'm just concerned that we won't be getting them back like we have in the past.
Right, and I think it stays open until the very 1st of August, and so we would, I mean, there might be some that have trickled in, and I can check.
Yeah, okay, thanks. I just
Yeah.
a little concerned about that high number going out.
Yes.
I have a question. Can you guys hear me?
Again,
Okay, awesome. I've been having issues with my microphone. On page 4.5, under supplies and materials, I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more on how it looks like we are budgeting 3.8 million. Last year, we only budgeted a little bit over $1 million. That's a 2.8 million increase. Is that due to virtual learning?
so if you actually look down here under 420, it's textbooks. And so when you look in elementary, program 1111, program 1121, program 1131, you'll see there's an English language curriculum adoption. That's pretty significant. So, and Brooke will be spending some money next year trying to get us a new curriculum.
Yeah, it's English language arts, and it's English language arts for kindergarten through high school is one of our largest adoptions. And then our next largest would be math typically. And this is an English language arts year. We try to follow the state adoption cycle. So this is the year that English language arts is up.
Thank you for explaining that.
You bet.
Christine, I see your hand up.
Yeah, so I had another question. Could you talk a little bit about how, if we have a virtual academy next year to kind of accommodate kiddos and families that want to stay in distance learning for whatever reason, they like it or they are still worried about COVID or whatever, it just works better for them. How is that going to be just like the elementary budgets? Some of those teachers are going to be virtual, or are we going to create a supplemental budget that just contains all of the virtual stuff, or how's that going to work?
So a lot of that is going to be dependent upon the information we get on what kiddos are coming back next fall. So right now we're in development of the online program and trying to determine what the need is. And so that's coming out of the ESSER funding, the grant funding. So as we start figuring out how big that enrollment will be and what our enrollment will be for in person, I think that'll be dependent upon, do some of those teachers then end up sliding over or not. Ken, do you have any other comments?
Yeah, thank you, Pat. And Christine, yes. So the bottom line is we do have a holder around in the ESSER for funding, and it's where our hope is using ESSER to fund it, to stand it up. And then once there's students in it, it will self-fund itself, for lack of a better term. So, you know, year 2, year 3, year 4, obviously at some point the ESSER funds don't exist. And it's something, the online virtual academy, we are committed to. So the reality is that we will be funding teachers at the elementary level. We'll be funding program and teachers at the secondary and elementary, I should say that. We're currently in that process of planning, looking at curriculum, developing a budget, thinking about how it would play out. Right now, we're drafting up communication to our families and community that shares our plan and asking them interests. So you'll be seeing a communication that goes out shortly, hopefully within the week, that basically asks for interest that helps us start planning. We're also looking at all of our students that are currently placed in charter schools or other virtual academies outside of our district, and we're going to be reaching out to them and their families as well to say, hey, we now have this in our district, are you interested? So there's a number of different avenues. We do have budget set aside, But obviously, if we get many more students interested, we'll have to talk about what we can shift. If we get a lot less, then we'll shift the budget that way as well.
So Ken, do we know if surrounding districts are planning on starting their own virtual academies after this year of CDL? And if they aren't, how would we get information out to families outside the district that maybe want to do this with our district? And
So
would that be part
most
of the
of the
transfer process?
Yeah, exactly. You got it, Christine. It basically would be the inter-district transfer process is how it would play out. But ultimately, my understanding is most districts are going down this road. I don't know if they're quite as committed as we are. I mean, we're going to make it happen. So I'm not quite certain there. I haven't had conversations, but some of our neighboring districts already have programming, online programming. I don't know that it's a robust pre-K-12, but they do. So I would expect most of our neighboring districts as well. But again, if not, and even outside the region, the inter-district transfer process would basically handle that.
Frida?
I'm going to follow up on that because I had some questions too on it, because it could impact next year's budget and funding. Do we know what kind of technical equipment we're going to need to be more successful at what we're doing with the online academy? I guess that's kind of a Derek question.
Hi, great, Frida. That's a great question. A team of us met today to kind of start the plan, and so it really depends on what the curriculum needs are as far as what we're going to provide students. But students will, if they're a K-12 student, they're going to have a device at the lower levels that'll be, like a touch screen and then a Chromebook. So definitely that. We're also looking at some different document cameras and kinds of things that work better in the virtual than in the brick and mortar. So we're still kind of in the investigation phase.
Yeah, I'm more interested not in the Chromebooks because kids have already have them, but what we as a district, so we can have a successful, what type of equipment is needed? Because I think I copied you on the Collins Aerospace.
You did.
That maybe that might be something to tap into a grant to help us with that and preserve some of the ESSER funds.
Correct.
So.
Great. Thank you, Frida. Yep. And I will be sharing that with the team as well. So thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions or comments? And Frida, your hand's still up, so I'm assuming you don't have a new question. Okay, at this point, would anyone like to move to approve the proposed budget?
I'll move to approve the proposed budget.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
And I would assume we should probably do this by roll call.
Yes, let me bring up the document. It has to be read verbatim if you don't mind, Chris, and then I'm happy to take a roll call after that. So let me go ahead and share my screen.
Thank you.
Can everyone see this motion?
Yes.
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 So I guess, Christine, if you don't mind reading the first motion verbatim, approving the budget so that we do it properly.
Sure. I move that the David Douglas School District number 40 Budget Committee approve the total budget and aggregate amount of $236,317,339.
And Aaron, is it safe to assume that you still second the motion?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, so it's been moved and seconded.
Okay, I'll take a roll call separately for this motion then.
Thank you.
Donna Barber,
Aye.
Stephanie Stevens, Christine Larson,
Aye.
Sahar Maranovic,
Aye.
Aaron Barrow,
Aye.
Andrea Valderrama, Frida Christopher,
Aye.
Tori Campbell,
Aye.
Juan Mayoral, Christopher Pekarsky,
Aye.
Katrina Whittle,
Aye.
Mitzi Stone,
Aye.
Adriana Govea, and Carrie Fry.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, the motion passes. We'll move on to the next motion to approve levying the district permanent property tax rate and bond debt service. Whoever would like to make that motion will need to read.
I can do it again.
Fantastic, thank you.
I move that the David Douglas School District Number 40 Budget Committee approve the district's permanent tax rate of $4.6394 per $1,000 assessed value is assessed in support of the general fund. A debt service levy in the amount of $4,966,815 is also authorized to service the district's general obligation bonds and is accounted for outside of the general fund.
All right, thank you for reading that.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Aaron. It's been moved and seconded.
Okay, I'll go ahead and take a roll. Donna Barber,
Aye.
Stephanie Stevens, Christine Larson,
Aye.
Sahar Maranovic,
Aye.
Aaron Barrow,
Aye.
Andrea Valderrama, Frida Christopher,
Aye.
Tori Campbell,
Aye.
Juan Mayoral, Christopher Pekarsky,
Aye.
Katrina Whittle, Katrina, I don't think we caught your response.
I'm sorry, I was muted. Aye.
Thank you. Mitzi Stone,
Aye.
Adriana Govea, and Carrie Fry.
Aye.
Thank you. So, sorry, Pat, just to refresh my memory, this is just, this portion is not read out loud necessarily tonight. This is just part of the motion that I will send a DocuSign, via DocuSign to Chris immediately after the motion for his signature. Aaron, did you have a question?
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I don't want to cut in if we're still voting and passing things.
I think we voted on everything we have to vote on at this point.
I just want to make a comment. I mean, this year has been bananas, you know, in every whatever bananas means. And I just wanted to give you props, Pat, and your whole team for getting this budget through this year. I mean, this is a monstrous undertaking in any year, you know. I mean, I got a zing up my spine last year when I voted to pass a $200+ million budget, and I got a zing just now. But this has been such a wild year. I really wanted to appreciate just how much work and effort and time and energy, and how many times I think you just kind of scraped through by your fingernails and still made it happen. And I really appreciate that. I know my kids appreciate that. I know the teachers in our district appreciate that. And I want to thank everybody on the leadership team for DDSD. You guys have just been killing it this year. And it's just, I'm very impressed, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, well, I guess at this point, we announced the budget hearing, which will be occurring on Thursday, June 17th, 2021 at 7 p.m. And is that going to be via Zoom?
That's going to be part of the regular board meeting, from my understanding. And I think Derek could confirm this. He typically runs the streaming for that. Derek, that's over Zoom, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you, Derek.
Okay. There will be
Chris?
no, go ahead.
Chris, I have a comment to make. And I have a lot of years on the board, 30 years on the board and probably close to 40 on the budget committee. I think this is the first time we had our vision, our strategic plan, and actually the budget trying to align with a strategic plan with actual conscious choices in budget recommendations by the administration. And I want to give them kudos for doing that and helping moving this district forward with the strategic plan, but also tying those together so the community can really see that we are making that effort to bring equity to our district in various ways. So just a kudos to everyone.
Does anyone else want to raise general kudos and acclamations to our beloved folks here? I do want to say this is my second year on the budget committee, and I feel like I've got a better grasp on it than I did last year. It's still a massive undertaking. Just reviewing the budget, kind of consistent with what Aaron and Frida were saying, shows a lot of thought and a lot of time and a lot of effort goes into just laying the foundation for being able to have a school district and a school year for our children. And I appreciate the time that was taken to put so much thought and effort into a massive undertaking, just as Aaron said. Thank you very much. With that said, we do not have a next budget meeting because we've done all of our work. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn and we'll be done for the year.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn our budget for 2021.
All right, Tori, is there a second?
I'll second.
And for this one, if anyone really wants to stay on the line, just say nay out loud. No one does, so it seems as though we've done our work for the year. Thank you all very much for your time. I'd like to, go ahead.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you, Chris. I was just wondering if I could have 10 seconds. I know I've been trying to wait for the right time, and I will be very brief. I just want to recognize and thank all of you. Board Member Barrow talked about Bananas Years and recognized our cabinet and Pat's team, which I concur with, did an amazing job and have done an amazing job. But really, this Bananas Years, all of you have been dealing with it, living with it, and have been resilient through it. And you're here. You're here standing up to lead and be part of the district and support our kids and our community. So I know the thank you was going to our team, but I also want to reach out right back at you and thank each of you for all you're doing, your commitment, your belief, your support, your trust. I also want to specifically thank Frida and others. And what I mean by that is just recognizing that, you know, we're still working with 9.1 versus 9.3. We still are not at quality education model, but we did intentionally make investments in our diversity, equity, inclusion focus. And that was very intentional, pretty limited ads, unfortunately. And I'm looking forward to next year being more intentional. Next year, taking an opportunity now that we have the strategic plan. Obviously, that was kind of a moving target part of this year. So it'll be in place, and partnering with the board, kind of having a longer, if you will, run up to the budget to really continue this trend and the intention of a strategic plan that funds our budget, as well as an equity plan that we have a team working very hard on and thinking about how all those will align to help focus our work. So I just want to thank you for recognizing that. I also want to thank, I know you recognize Pat and her team and the cabinet are on, quite simply best in the state. And I don't have to say that. They're not giving me any kickbacks, I promise you. And I do get to meet with a lot of other superintendents, and this team is the real deal. So I know we're not perfect. I know we don't always get it right, but I want you to know that we're going to try our best every day, and we want to be always the best at getting better and improving for kids. So thank you all for all you do. And if you don't mind, the last 20 seconds here, I've been saving this, but we received an award, and I thought this was a great time to recognize it. And it was an email that basically went to Pat and her team. Congratulations to you, your staff, and your district on receiving the ASBO International Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting Award, COE, for your FY 2020 Comprehensive Annual Fiscal Report. Your participation in the COE program is a testament to your district's commitment and transparency and high-quality financial reporting. I know finance is a little different than the budget. I know all that, but the reality is it's directly aligned. And very proud of Pat's team and her work, and having confidence in this budget means a lot for a district. So thank you, Pat, to your team. Congratulations on that award. And I'm so sorry, Chris. I know I went longer than I said I would. So
I think we can all forgive you. Thank you all for your time tonight. With that, our meeting is adjourned.